Good morning. Welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. Our very special guest, along with producer Alden Iwadi, our very special guest today, Rio Grande boys basketball coach Mario Armendariz, Rio Grande athletic director Pete Pino, and Rio Grande player Jonah Lopez. And Coach Armendariz, if you could start us off, Rio Grande's got some new digs. You're very excited about it. Tell us a little bit about it. Coach Pino, of course, we want to ask him. He's been there a very long time. I have the utmost respect for Coach Pino. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at in Rio Grande's fantastic new gym.
Well, we want to take time to say thank you to you, Ed, and all the crew at ProView, everything that you guys do for the kids, not just for this moment for Rio Grande. It makes it special for these kids that have a place that they could go see themselves. And big shout out to ProView Networks. What can we say? We'll turn the camera over and give you guys a quick little view of our gym. As you're looking at our center court area here, as you turn to what will be the left side of it, you got your big logos on that side. Come back to the other side. On this side, you have your logos over there. You have all your coaches' office are the big windows that are up there. You have the girls' dance team. They have their own spot behind those bleachers. Some of our C-teamers go to the back of those bleachers, and they have their little own gym area over there, a full-size court. We're overwhelmed with joy. This is a really good thing for the community. It's a good thing for the school. I would like to introduce Coach Pino so he could talk a little bit of the history, if that's okay with you, Ed.
Yes, sir. Coach Pino, good to see you again, sir. You and I go back many years. I told Jonah Lopez, you taught me driver's ed, Coach. That's how far we go back. You know, Coach, you spent many, many times there as a coach, the athletic director. Tell us what this means to the community of the South Valley. Many graduates there, Rio Grande. It's a well-deserved thing. It's many years in the works, right? You and I talked about this last year on ProView Networks. Tell us about this fantastic facility and how it came about.
Okay. Ed, thank you very much. And we do go a long time. I remember when you were a ball player at Highland, a role model ball player, and you're a role model ball player at your business. Ed, this gym was long awaited and long needed. And it's not just one person doing the work. It was a lot of people in the community, in the school, joining together for a common cause, a cause of building this gym. Our main job right now is to take care of it. We have such a beautiful place here. We need to make sure that we maintenance and just plain take care of it.
Coach, we mentioned this. Rio Grande had to struggle through 2 years of not having a gym, playing away games. Harrison Middle School, Polk Middle School were kind enough to let you use their facilities to practice. And Coach, when I think back of all the great Raven coaches of the past, the Keith Griffiths, the Abe Estradas, the Ron Garcias, Wally Saladas, Mark Portillos. I probably missed a few. Yourself, of course, all the coaches that have roamed the sideline, and now Coach Armendariz, of course. It's a big thing for the South Valley, Coach, and Rio Grande. And congratulations to everybody that got it done. Coach, I know there's a lot of people that were involved in getting the funding and getting it done. And, a couple of years later, you've got to be thrilled.
Coach, this is a great happening here at Rio Grande community. We're very proud, very happy that this happened.
Yeah, Coach, I'll tell you what, it looks beautiful. Thanks so much for joining us. We sure appreciate it.
You're welcome, Ed, anytime.
We'll see you soon, Coach. I'm going to come down to Ravens Nest and take a look myself for sure. Coach Armendariz, thanks so much for your tour. And let's talk to a little bit to your senior, Jonah Lopez, averaging 18 points so far early in the season. And Jonah, I'm looking at you and I'm smiling because Coach Pino had the red jackets with the Raven, right? I remember when Coach Pino, he's all about class. That man, I have such respect for him. The javelina, the half-court press or, whatever. I still remember the call from the bench. Javelina after a made basket. So a lot of respect for Coach Pino. Talk a little bit about how it was for as a player not to have a home court for a couple of years, right? You had to go to Polk and Harrison to practice. All your games are on the road. Talk a little bit about what it is now when you look around at this fabulous facility as a senior. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you very much, Mr. Nunez, for having me on the show. You know, playing at Harrison and Polk, which of course we were very thankful that they were able to allow us to get in there and get some practice in. We're very thankful for them, but, it feels great to be home. This gym is very modern. It has a very warm and cozy feeling to it. And honestly, we've only had one home game so far, but I love playing here. There was lots of difficulties and adversity that we faced. Playing on the road for 2 years is never easy. And that was extremely difficult. But, we're thankful for Miss Valenzuela, who was able to pull the right strings and get us in here. And we're happy to be here in our brand new home.
Coach Armendariz, Jonah Lopez, by the way, is your leading scorer, but also, more importantly, Coach, a 4.3 GPA. He told me he's thinking about majoring in electrical engineering or civil engineering. And Coach, I've done it. I've got a quote here that I want to read about you from someone that knows you real well here in a second. But you're about the South Valley, Coach. You're also the manager at Mountain View Community Center. You know the South Valley. You worked at Westside Community Center, right? Back in the day as a Raven, talking to a coach there, you battled against A.J. Bramlett and Kenny Thomas and were one of the leading rebounders in the state, right? So I always said, if you and I played against each other, man, boy, I'll tell you, we would have gone at it, man. I repped some of your games, right, back in the day. So you got to be proud of this young man here. And, when he told me about his GPA, which I love athletes, right? Of course we do. Academics will always carry the day, Coach. Tell us a little bit about John.
It sounds corny to say this, but how much time do I have? This is just, bar none, the best player off the court and on the court. A great teammate, great student athlete. He's a great big brother. He's a good friend. When you come to your pregame and that young man's in the stands locked in, taking time, reading his Bible, he's so mature. He carries himself with such a humble meekness to him that I'm just honored to have him in our program. The kid, once upon a time, walked into the lobby with his dad, who's done such a phenomenal job with him. He's part of our coaches. He's one of our best coaches here. And I remember I told him, I said, we don't have that many players at Rio Grande, but you're the kid that could change the culture at Rio Grande. Slowly but surely, people from Atrisco will mosey on over back to Rio Grande. And, we're blessed to have him. Atrisco is a monster upstairs. We call him the castle at the top of the hill. Mm-hmm. And we're humbled to have a kid like Jonah in our program that leads off the court, on the court. He's just a great dude. I can't even speak enough of how thankful I am to have him in our program. He's just a good kid, man.
Like you can tell the way he speaks and, as far as the way he presents himself. And again, the GPA, we just can't say enough about that. A 4.3 GPA says it all right there because there's a commitment to athletics for sure. You mentioned that being a leader. You were a leader when you played for Rio Grande. It's tough to be that leader. Somebody always looks to somebody, though, sets the example on a team, right? And with Jonah setting the example, not only in the court, in the community. Coach, you're about the community, right? You're about the community. You love the South Valley, Coach. You love the South Valley, man. I always tell you with that voice, we got to get you on the Sopranos, man. I was
no. Oh, you're so funny.
But Coach, there's a lot of pride there. So, I think you're having him by your side and leading your team. There's always got to be that leader. I played on teams, coached teams. People look to that, right? So I think with Jonah setting that example academically and athletically, that's someone, and the younger kids in the program see that too. There was always somebody at the Rio Grande when you played, you looked up to guys that played that were older than you. Ray Cordova played at Valley to one of your coaches, but you emulated a lot of what Coach Cordova did. Coach Cordova was, man, I call him Rugged Ray Cordova, right? Rugged Ray Cordova was a heck of a basketball player. Three sports story could have been a better baseball player, played some professionally in Mexico, right? But one of those guys that you emulated and now people emulated you, and people are now going to emulate Jonah and kids like that in your program.
Again, like, you're speaking about Ray. Coach Cordova's been with me from jump, through good, through bad, through the 40-point blowouts. I can't tip my hat enough to Coach Cordova for his time. Coach Lopez has been with me now for some time. He's really helped the program when it comes to the fundamental aspects. And then we had to go yank on somebody's door and his chain for the last 3 years. And finally, we got Coach Peralta, who I played with here at Rio Grande. He was a freshman when I was a senior, and he's part of the program. And he's like the offensive coordinator. He brings that dynamic to the program. And one thing that all of us as coaches is we're proteges of Coach Pino. It's about the discipline and respect factor. And don't get me wrong, Ed, kids make mistakes internally here. We discipline and we move on. It's about growth, and we sell this to them all the time. We need to make sure that you're ready in 4 years to impact this community that I personally love so much. It's bigger than basketball at Rio Grande. We teach you how to be young men here in this program, and this is a perfect reflection of what happens when you come to Rio Grande.
And really an extension of what it was when you played for Coach Pino, right? That's why I smiled when I saw the sweaters, because I remember the jackets with the Raven. Coach Pino, again, I have such respect for him because he's a class and act all the way, right? He wants to win. He wants to play hard, but he wants good character, right? He's not going to just say we want to win and all the rules are barred, right? We don't care about rules and regs. He very much cares about that, what kind of individual you are as a person, right? How many young kids has he molded over the years, and not just in athletics, as a teacher, as you do too, in your role as the manager at Mountain View. A lot of people come through that center, right? And you got a great young man in Anthony Santianes working for you, who's the assistant at Academy. He's ready to take over someday, somewhere.
Oh, he
right?
keeps pushing me out, Ed. He keeps telling me, "Can you just retire already? Can you get out already?" He's a great guy, man. He's going to be something very special for Bernalillo County and for that community. Just a great guy all the way around. His dad was an athlete too, and everybody knows his daddy as Chato, and that guy was a tenacious athlete back in the day too. So it's got some good stuff that's happening for him at Academy. Special shout out to the Academy Chargers on a great tournament win this weekend also.
Oh yeah, you participated in that tournament in the second half of the show. We're going to talk to you a little bit about, it's the early season. Ravens are 2-2. They'll take on Moriarty in the Ravens' nest tonight. My son was a little upset because he didn't see the big Raven there anymore. My son was like, Dad, when I ref those games back in the day at Rio Grande, I'd ref a lot of big games, right? Rio Grande Valley. My son would go with me, and sometimes when the fans, I'd see one little hand up there, and even my son would be mad about a call. And I'm like, son, you're the only friend I got, man. And my own son. So we still laugh about that. Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about this year's version of the Rio Grande Ravens and what we might expect to see after these messages on the Sports Desk.
Finds the corner, shot is up. Ooh, there's another one. Aris, that's 9 for Aris, and she's hit.
is rejected by Terrell, rebounded by Cal. Hook shot is up, it's good. 2 points for Ryan Cal. With the dunk in transition.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. Welcome back to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Our special guest today, Rio Grande head boys basketball coach Mario Armendariz and Jonah Lopez, one of his ball players, and one of the coaches I did mention that patrolled the sidelines, and I think I did, was Billy D. Lopez. That's my guy. I don't want to forget Billy D. Lopez. A shout out to Coach Lopez. Here's a quote from somebody that knows you. I'm proud of him and the father and husband he became, a man with a tremendous amount of compassion. The players will run through a wall for him. He understands the community he belongs to. That's from Ray Cordova. Rugged Ray Cordova was kind enough to provide that quote for me about you. Coach, Rio Grande 2-2 on the season. You just played in that Sandia Prep tournament you mentioned. You dropped the game to Trisco. To Pius, you beat Pius. A loss to the Academy is pretty darn good, 66-57, and then a real close one against Marcos Rivera and Sandia Prep, 58-57. And Marcos Rivera reminds me a lot of you, man. Ooh, he really does. You know, from Powhatan Him and you remind me a lot of each other. I know Coach Rivera real well, but tell us where the Ravens are. It's early in the season. You got Moriarty tonight in the Ravens' nest. Tell us where the Ravens are.
Well, Coach Cordova and the coaches and Coach Lopez and Peralta, all of us kind of use the best is yet to come from these young men. Versus Atrisco, it's not an excuse because that's a monster, but there was a lot of jitters. This dude had a temperature of 102. He shouldn't even have played. Like, they're finding themselves within the offense. They're trusting themselves. That extra pass is starting to surface a little bit more. And more importantly, you of anybody know how important talking is. Left, right, middle, who's got weak side, help coming, touching everybody during the lane. It's the little things for us now. I think we got enough components with Big Santiago, with Jonathan Lukesh, Isaiah, Cheo, all these young men that are there, Jacob. We got some components. We got some good poison here at Rio Grande. But I really feel that the best is yet to come. If we could continue to stay focused on the defensive side, good things are going to happen at Rio Grande this year.
You mentioned Eliseo Velasquez, Jonathan Lukesh. I was impressed with him. I had one of your games last year. The big guys, who happen to be my cousins, by the way, Mateo Gonzalez and Santiago Gonzalez. One of them 6'6", and the other one's 6'5". And you mentioned one of them's going to be on the show with us today, but he goes to charter school and couldn't make it. Talk about I was excited when I saw you last year against at Albuquerque High. I thought, and you and I talked a lot, right? We talked about the development of this team. Right now 2-2, but you mentioned the best yet to come with the size inside, right? They're developing. Both of them are developing still. Mateo and Santiago, 6'5" and 6'6". And then you got Jonah, 6'2". That's some pretty good size. I was impressed with Eliseo Velasquez last year and Jonathan Lukesh. Talk about the development of the big guys underneath.
You know, Santi, as aggressive Santi could get at times. Don't mess with his brother. His brother's the mean guy. That kid is, we named him Captain Insano. He shows no mercy. He's just a mean kid, and he's not afraid of anybody. And sometimes we wish that Santiago had that fire, but now you go to Santi. Santi's, Mr. Finesse. Santi's got a lot of athletic ability, and Santi's going to get better as the season goes. And I don't want to be quoted to this, but I think this is going to be a really breakout season for Santiago. Mateo is going to be swinging JV and varsity. We're going to get him as many minutes as we possibly can because it took him a little bit longer than his brother to come out because he was still in love with the game called volleyball. Mateo is just so big. He loved the game of volleyball. And, we pleaded with him for a long time to come play basketball, and he finally came out. And he's developed. He's lost about maybe 25 to 30 pounds since he joined the program. He's donkey with two hands, where back in the day he could barely even touch the rim. So we're really proud of both of those boys. Special shout out to his mom and his dad on what great individuals that they've raised. Those kids are class act, another high GPA students, 4.0 students. We're really blessed as coaches to have so many good young men. Not just great athletes. We got good men in the program.
Of course, his father, Victor, the former St. Pius star, and his mother, Michelle, very, like I said, my cousin, they're very good people, as you mentioned. Jonah, talk a little bit about, again, we mentioned the unquestioned leader of the team, right? We're doing a little tour of your weight room. Talk a little bit about the chemistry, the practices. Is it different now that you have a home to go to? It's not, revolving door. It's not Harrison. It's not Polk. You have you got lockers, right? Talk a little bit about how things have changed now that you're grounded back at Rio Grande where you belong as far as practicing, having a home court. Talk a little bit about the approach and how the players have responded.
Yeah, of course. Well, as you know, we have a lot of the same core from last year. So from this past summer and then over the off season, we really grew closer as a group. And I feel like now that we have the home gym, we have a weight room where we can work out, we have our own lockers, that just helped us grow together and built our chemistry up even better. And, having a home gym with with the student section and fans that cheer us on, and we can really feel the energy from the gym. It helps a lot, especially in close games.
You know what? That's a good point, Jonah. Back in the day when Rio Grande would play Valley, oh man, right? Energy, and you just mentioned that it's different having to play on the road all the time. That home crowd, and you hear somebody in a come on, let's go, Jonah, right? Somebody that's don't think your adrenaline does it, right? You can't live on adrenaline, you'll die, right? But you'll get an adrenaline rush from the South Valley, the support that the Ravens get there, and it's good. That again, what a great look at the weight room. Take a look at that. Wow, beautiful. But it's something that you don't forget, the support that you have there as far as the community of the South Valley, right?
Yes, sir, of course. And it's just something that really can uplift us. I mean, hopefully, sometime soon in the season, Santi or me gets a breakaway dunk and the crowd just erupts, and that can really lift the team up and give us so much more energy.
Yeah, you know what? I have no doubt about that. Coach Armendariz, we mentioned it's still early in the season. I think that's the beauty about it. You had a lot of mentors in your life as far as coaching. You had Coach Pino. You mentioned Ben Santisteban. Tell us that little story about something about Coach Santisteban, who, by the way, I played against in high school. I have the utmost respect for him as a person, an educator, right? A good man, a big-time respect for Coach Santisteban. Tell us a little bit about his influence on you as a coach and you as a person.
There was Mark Portillo's, Coach Cordova, and Ben Santisteban. They were big individuals that influenced me to kind of make better decisions in my life and pull me away from certain individuals. They believed in me. And to tell you the truth, Coach Pino called my mom every day, and I just was tired of getting yelled at. But back to Ben Santisteban, we were playing, I want to say it was La Cueva. I think it was La Cueva. And it was halftime, and we were in the locker rooms, and Coach Pino says, postman on this side, guards on this side. And Coach Santisteban starts yelling, we're not boxing now. You need to get in their guts, show some pride. He grabs his blazer, he takes off his blazer, and he slams the blazer, and he hits me on the top of my head. And I'm just locked in. Like, this dude, he's such a motivator. I was just locked in. All of a sudden, I start seeing, like, red. So I go like this, and I was bleeding. The button from the blazer cut me. He started panicking, and, oh, you okay? This, that, man. We're ready to go. There was no such thing as go to the trainer at that time. Oh. We just put a little South Valley spit on it. Vámonos.
That is funny, Coach. That is funny. But you know what I think of? Knowing Coach Santisteban the way I do, I could see him doing that, and he was a big influence on you. You know what? Like I said, you've got some great people around. You mentioned Coach Portillos, who, by the way, was a West Mesa star back in the day. I played against Coach Portillos, and he spent some time at Rio Grande. We mentioned Gabe Estrada back in the day was part of the Rio Grande head coaching tree as well. So you had some very good people that you've mentored you as well. Coach, how does it feel to you? Because again, you mentioned to me there was a lot of times these past couple of years were a challenge. I talked to you last year. You were practicing at Harrison, right? You're practicing at Polk. Talk a little bit about that, because it's tough not to have a home place, right? Jonah mentioned that. You get energized by your home base, Coach, right? You didn't have that for a while. Talk about the effect that was and how you had to overcome that, because every day you got to go to practice. You got to encourage. We're winning, we're losing, ups and downs of any season, right? And you don't have a real home to say, hey, we're okay here. Talk a little bit about those challenges.
One of the cutest things is when we finally gave them a white uniform in a tournament, they thought that we were going to play at home, but we didn't have a gym. Ernie Pyle, special shout out to Ernie Pyle, Harrison, Polk Middle School. Those principals, they opened their hearts, their facilities to us. What can we say? I never thought at a high school level that we would be practicing on Mondo floors, on smaller courts, JV, C team, and varsity all going at the same time because of the time crunch. What can you say? You had the second or third hardest schedule last year, and every single game was on the road. it was hard for these young men. You know, we didn't have the tools that we have this year, and we're getting blown away. You know, it was, how do you pick them up? How do you continue to try to motivate them mentally, emotionally? And now, you know, you're at home, and for them to be at home is a sense of pride to defend their Ravens nest. I'm really, truly excited to see how this season goes. We've been patient, you know, we've been waiting, and I really feel that the best of the Rio Grande Ravens are going to show this year.
Jonah, one quick question for you, and you know, we'll turn it back over to Coach Armendariz. It's got about a minute left. What's it going to take for the Ravens to have that successful season? All the pieces are in place, right? Got a home now, right? And the season is going to go quick. You've got games jammed up all into each other. What is it going to take for the Ravens to have that winning season? Maybe make some noise in the state tournament.
Yes, sir. Well, I believe that we have all the right tools, and all we really need to do is just execute, trust each other, and you know, I believe everything else will take care of itself. As long as we stay together and focus on the defensive end, we'll definitely be fine. And I think, like you said, we could surprise some people and make a state run.
I think you have the pieces for sure. Coach Armendariz, back to you. We're going to wrap this up. You've got Moriarty, Gadsden, and Chaparral coming up, and certainly competitive teams, but those are teams that the Ravens can compete with as well, than El Dorado and Santa Fe. Coach Armendariz, we cannot thank you enough, sir, for being our guest today on the Sports Desk and giving us the first tour of the Rio Grande Ravens' new facility. Shout out to you, Jonah Lopez, and Coach Pete Pino. Thanks so much for being our guest.
Ed, one last thing. We did forget to mention somebody that was here for years, too. That's Sean Jimenez. Did a lot of stuff here.
That's right. Yeah, didn't mean to forget Coach Jimenez. That's right. Great coach, state title winner of Cleveland. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot about Coach Jimenez. Did a great job. Again, Coach Armendariz, good luck tonight against Moriarty. Jonah, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Nunez.
Thank you, guys. Shout out to ProView Network. Go Ravens.
For producer Alden Iwane, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.